type in
I'm really sorry about that.
server. I type in Preptember and I type DSC. So it will search in Preptember for the message DSC, and we don't have any message. So that you can also sort and everything. So this really helps to make sure that you don't miss on something. So suppose you are given some message to do something or something at a company or an internship. So you can use things like this to find out rather than asking the manager once again, key, what was the thing that I was supposed to do. Each channel membership is independent of everything. And you can see the members of the channel on the top on the desktop app, and that you can also set your DP and everything, which comes in settings and administration. No, not that, preferences, which will open the website app. And that is pretty much about the basics of Slack on the desktop app. I can even show you the mobile app if you want. It also is very much similar. So you swipe to the left, you see all the workspaces. You choose what workspace you want. You see the threads, which is equivalent to what I said. You see all the channels, not the threads. And after that, on the bottom, the very same design that we have on the desktop app or the web app, we have the direct messages as well. And you can click on anything. So if I click on, let's say once again, September, you see the messages. And yeah, now coming back to the goodness of Slack. ये सब तो हम all these things is something which we can do in WhatsApp or anything anywhere you want. So I want to show you about Slack threads and mentions. So these three things that you see on the top, threads, all DMs, and mentions and reactions, help you to keep track of what is happening. So it is possible that some conversation is happening in some channel which you don't care about. Some people are discussing and you are not sure if they are discussing something which makes sense to you, or you are like a bit busy and you are not following. So at the end of it, you want to see if someone has mentioned you or something that you have mentioned, someone has replied to it or something. So threads is a place to see all the conversation where you have been a member of. So all the conversations that I have been a member of in any channel. So it's between me and a person on hashtag random channel. It's between Harish, and two others. One of them is me on web dev channel. So all the conversations that you have with any person on any channel is shown in this threads platform, and it's shown reverse chronologically. So the newest one will come always on the top. So this works. All DMs will show all the direct messages that you have, mentions and reactions. So this is something cool about Slack. So anytime someone sends a message, you can add a reaction. So if there is no reaction, you have to click on this reaction plus button. You can add any reaction. So let's put the fire emoji. You can even add multiple reactions. And that's about reactions. So reactions are kind of a way to quickly respond if if a conversation is happening and you want to respond to it. So let us assume that this is a contest that is happening which you don't know what is that. So you don't type hello, I want to know about this in the main channel. So the reason why Slack is awesome is because you can make sure that the long chats that we have can be condensed and easily managed. So suppose you mistakenly sent a message on Slack, let us assume. So the quick thing is that about Slack, you can copy the message, you click on it, you delete message, and it is gone. This delete is delete for everyone. So it's gone from the entire Slack's history. And what you should do when you want to ask something specific to an existing message is ask reply in thread. So what happens then is, so I do this, and then let's assume I even put one more message. You see that I've put two messages, but in spite of that, the basic conversation structure in the main channel is not messed up. So if I want to see what was the further conversations of this, just click on this and I can see a lot of people are responding. That is it about threads. So use threads if you want to converse related to an existing message that is put up. If you want to ask something, let us say you are new to Slack and you want to ask something, so you create a new thread. So let us so this is the way how Tanish did it. He has a doubt. It is not something related to an existing message that is put. It's something that he wants to start as a conversation, which is when he uses message like this. Makes sense? So you see, like we had an existing message asking about the concerns. We have that in the separate channel, and we have in the separate conversation thread, and we can have this one also in a separate conversation thread. This makes sure that there is no overcrowding. Apart from it, if there is something, all the channels that you see are bold are the channels which have new messages. So if these are bold, means they have new messages which you have not seen. If there is any threads which is in bold, it means that someone has responded to a conversation that you are part of and you have not seen it. You can even save things. So I want to save this thing and I want to get back to it later. You click on save and it comes in saved items. I have even saved a previous message which comes. You can remove it from saves and it's gone. Also, we have some Slack bots as well. Slack has few bots. It works nice. So in this channel, we don't have any bot except the welcome bot, which sends out a GIF every time someone joins. So that is about the basics of how Slack works. And then anyone
Can you
wants to
also tell
ask
them
something?
about the private channels? Two kinds of
Yeah, so
channels.
yeah, we have two kinds of channels. One is a private channel, one is a public channel. So if you want to have a private channel which only you or a group of your friends want to be participate in. So if you have a hackathon and you are participating in hackathon, you want the entire hackathon's conversation which is already happening in Slack. So you want to have your own team covered group also in Slack. So you can create a private channel, which is create a private channel. So you can create that content spaces. Okay. When you create a channel, you have to click on the private thing and this. So for those of you who are part of the call, if you go to click on plus and you browse, you won't find the private channel which you are not members of. So you won't find it in this channel browser. So unless explicitly added by people, so unless you add them directly, people cannot join a private channel. So that's it about private channels. And if you are part of a workspace and you don't know how to invite them, so you can directly click on this. So let us, so if you know the mail ID, I can directly writing this. So you can click on it and decide. If you're not an admin, what happens is that the request is halfway approved, and once the admin approves, the request is sent and they can join. Or if there's an existing link which the workspace admin has created, you can directly copy the link and give it to someone. That is it about Slack. If anyone wants to ask something, I can. In the mobile app also, I don't think there is something apart from it. So in the mobile app, in the new version of the mobile app, we have the mentions and everything over here. Mentions and reactions, which is there on the desktop app in a tab, is the third tab on the mobile app. U is your description and everything. On Slack, especially if you're working on hackathons and if you're part of an important conversation which needs you to always monitor, make sure that you change the setting in Slack, which is by default after 10 p.m. It does not send you any notification. So you can change it in you and notification settings. So make sure you do that if you are part of some important conversation and you want to stay updated. By default, from 10 p.m. to 6 or 8 a.m. I'm not sure, but from 10 p.m. for sure, it disables all the notification. Another thing about Slack is in any channel that you use, prefer not to use this mention the entire channel, because what happens, ideally I should not be able to mention. So ideally in large workspace, a warning will come which will say that you are going to mention the entire channel, which includes 486 members in this CodeChef channel, and they are from 7 time zones. So it's possible that members in the channel are from different time zones, and it's not ideal to always mention everyone. So you should prefer not to do it unless it's something really important. So don't use @channel or even @everyone. So @everyone is more deadly than @channel. So @everyone mentions everyone in the entire workspace, which includes people who are also not part of this channel. So if someone is not part of, let's say, CodeChef channel, but they are part of the app dev channel, even they will get mentioned if I use everyone. But if I use @channel, the people in the channel will get mentioned. That is it about Slack. It's kind of not really difficult once you start using it. Any questions about Slack or how it works you want to ask? The left tab you see. So I see a red dot with a number for a channel because it has something which directly mentions me, like someone has tagged me in something, and the channels beside which you see a dot, it means that there's a message in one of the workspaces which you have not seen. So that's it about how the icons are present. Any questions about that? No.
हेलो एबल भैया
Hmm.
वो you at the mention about the reminding feature of Slack also, like it is very handy and helpful.
Yeah, yes, that is something cool. Yeah, let me see. So let us go to #PrepTemper. That is a feature which I know that Harish uses a lot. So you see, you want to get reminded about this at some point later. So someone put a message and you don't want to respond right now, or you want a reminder. You click on the 3 dots, you click on remind me about it, and you set a time. So I want a reminder in about 20 minutes. It will send a notification. So it is really helpful to make sure that you don't miss on something. So if there is something that you want to keep track of without getting forgotten, you can use this remind me about this. Also, if you want to mention a message, if you want to copy the message link, you can copy the link of the message and you paste it somewhere else. And when people click on the link, they will directly get mentioned to this message. So we have a GitHub bot. Oh, no, we don't have. I need to install it. Okay. That is it about, yeah, Slackbot is something which helps you with reminders and things. So that is it. Did I miss something? Anyone wants to ask any questions or anything?
I think you pretty much covered all the necessary stuff which someone would need to get started with Slack.
You can even set emoji in your status. So if you want to do something on,
Emojis. You want to show them what is the shortcut to access emojis?
I don't use that. Would you care to explain?
Colon type something.
Colon, then I type happy.
Third face, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So you type colon and then you start typing and it comes. There's also a shortcut to get emojis directly in Windows, which is at Windows, comma.
That is also there.
So this is a shortcut which you can use anywhere, which is Windows plus the full stop button or Windows plus the comma button. It will open an emoji bar in any place you want. So this is something which is not restricted to Slack. This is something independent of Slack. This is something limited to Windows. So that is there. So Windows plus comma, Windows plus dot. In Slack, it's easy. You directly type colon and you type.
Even this shortcut even works in WhatsApp desktop as well. The colon and the emoji.
So if I click fire, the fire emoji comes. So you can use emoji in chat. You can use emoji to respond to messages, like add a reaction to it. You can even respond to a thread, which is this. You can even set emoji as your status, which is like star eyes for now. Let us try to change it to party blob. But Yeah, it does not move it on the preview, but it moves when I click on it. So yeah, if you have some cool stickers that you want to add, if you not stickers, cool reactions you want to add over here, you can send it to Harish. He'll add it. So that is cool about Slack. Also, yeah, that is pretty much it about Slack.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mention about that forward slash feature also. Like this one only.
Okay.
Commands.
Okay. So this slash commands is something. So these are known as slash commands in Slack. So these slash commands works. Let us try to use the slash commands with the Slack bot. So if I set uh, these slash commands are linked to some bots in Slack. So these commands that you see, the first few slash commands are all related to the Slack bot. You should also have something for Greet bot. We have something for GitHub bot and Greet bot as well. So there's also a math bot. You see?
I didn't know that.
Oh, this is nice. Okay, there's even a math bot. So I can use that. So like slash commands are like the powerhouse tools. So this is something I realized right now about the math bot. So yeah, so we have the greet bot. So greet bot is the slash greet is a way to access it, which welcomes everyone by sending gifs. We have slash who. This can be used to find out who all are the members of the channel. Regarding the Slack messages, good that I used it. Let us say that you want to type a long message with heading and everything. So you type heading, you type make it bold, you do Control B, or if you are on a mobile, you use bold. Okay, you can even make it italic and you strike through. The good thing is when you're sending a large chunk of code. So let us try to generate some. So let us assume that it's a large chunk of code you want to send it because someone wants to debug it. So if you send it, let's use some random channel so that. So if I send it, it becomes a long message. So if you want to just condense it and send it properly, the moment you do a mistake on Slack, copy the message, delete. You select this code thing. Okay, and then if you send it, this is condensed. It might not look condensed when opening the desktop app because we have a large view. But if I open the same on the mobile app, it's not condensed. Why did not that happen? Can someone help me? It's supposed to get condensed. That is weird. Let me try to edit the message. Is there a way? Okay. I am supposed to use code block if I'm not wrong. If I send it using a code block, even then it is not condensing. Okay, no, that is like really weird. Can someone help me out there?
Uh, do you need?
Let me see if someone has already tried doing it. I saw some message was there in some coding channel. Coding. Yes. So yeah. So I'm not sure why it has not condensed, but yeah, if you use a code block, it even adds. You can even add files which can directly get opened over here. So right now Vedanta sent a file which directly opens as a code file. This existing code that you sent in the channel should also get condensed, but it did not. Yeah, but if you send code files, it gets condensed for sure. So Vedant's message is proof of that. So we have 179 message which gets collapsed and the message is not messed up. So these are the multiple features which Slack has inbuilt in its service so that people can communicate without getting worried about the large messages that you have. A small example should be the app dev channel. So I asked the people about what are the expectations for map dev workshop. So 8 people replied, and it's possible that not everyone wants to reply. So what if they just want to see the rest of the messages, because everything that is happening in related to this message should be clubbed together. So we have everything in this reply section, which opens at the right bar when you do that. And also any new message that comes is a new thread for which people can reply again. So this makes sure that nothing is cluttered, and this is the big advantage that we get on Slack. I think with that, pretty much of Slack is covered. Hmm. You want me to show Discord? Discord is something which is used by gamers a lot.
Okay, Abel,
there-
I'll be
yeah,
right back in like 30 minutes. Okay, is that cool?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
So let me try using a public server to showcase. So in Discord, anyone can create a server. Discord is a good feature that public servers can request to get verified, so that you know that you're actually part of the original server that you want to be. A server in Discord is the equivalent of a workspace on Slack. So you see a tick mark, means it's a verified server, so it's the official server workspace. So I see that you see that I have two workspaces which say Hacktoberfest. One is this, one is this. So let us assume you want to know which of them is the actual legit workspace if they have verified it. This is something which only few workspaces have the verification. So you can see the official Hacktoberfest workspace has a tick. So this is something cool about Discord. This is used in Discord because there are a lot of people who create servers. So to make sure that people are not part of some spam servers, this is a feature in Discord. In Discord, let's go to channels. So you can see Hacktoberfest. So it's pretty much the same. The difference in Discord is there is no option of threads. So you write a message. Let us use my own server. I type hello. There is no way to reply as a thread to it. There's no way to reply in threads, which is something which is there in Slack. So if I want to reply, so if I say hello to, let us assume that someone else has said hello to, and you want to reply to the previous message, you click on long click on it, or in the desktop, I will show you how it's done. You click on quote, and then you write the response. Response 1. So it mentions the message and then sends a response so that people know. But the only issue with Slack, the only issue with Discord, which sometimes few people find it difficult but still manageable, is the threads feature, which is not there in Discord. Rest everything is awesome. Discord has a voice channel. So if there are 3 to 4 people discussing something and you want to just directly hop on the voice channel, you go to a channel which is a voice channel, you join it, and you're part of it's equivalent to joining a call. You click on it and you're part of a call, and anyone who joins it is part of a call. So it's really easy to go from text to voice conversation on Discord. For those of you who are part of MLH, there is a really cool voice channel which you can join. And if your friends as well join and everyone joins, you can play some music and everyone will listen to the same music. So it's like attending a music festival with just the voice on without the display. So that's something good about Discord. We can do screen share directly in Discord, which works really awesome. I can show you that in the desktop app really soon. Additional difference between Slack and Discord is I mentioned in Slack that the conversations that happen are like limited to the workspace that you have. So let me just exit from the voice channel first. So in Discord, all the DMs and every conversation that you have with people outside the server is not part of the server. So it is common. So if I have a conversation, this is a conversation with Ankit or anyone, so these conversations are independent of the workspace that you have. So this is not linked to any server that you have. So if you want to send a message to someone, it's usually blocked by the person sometimes. So if you want to send a new message to someone, you can directly click on it. You can send an invite to a friend, and without them accepting the invite, it's difficult to send a message because it's banned. So that is something that you need to keep mind of in Discord. For those of your designers, this is a channel which you should check out, Design Buddies, which has 7,000 members. They post really awesome tutorials, sessions, and job offerings and everything. The UX is pretty much similar to Slack. The bold channels are the channels which have a message that you have not read. The design that you see at the left edge, which has a dot at the edge of the channels icon, it means it has a message which you have not seen in that particular server. And if you want to create your own server, you click on plus and you can create your own server. Or if you have an invite link, you can click on join. Signing into Discord, if you have it set up once, is really easy. So let me show you the entire screen so that. Yeah. So you can directly open in browser. So if I want to do open in browser, okay, I'm like already logged in. So let me try to open in private window. I do open in browser. No, cancel. Login. So if you know the username password, you can do using that, or else if you're logged into your phone and you just want to log into your desktop app or your mobile app, you go to this your profile icon, click on scan QR code, you scan the QR code and then accept it on the phone, and you should be logged into the new device that you have. The advantage of Discord is that one login and you can see that all the workspaces are available. So it's a bit easier than Slack to set it up. So it helps. So that is it about Discord. The Discord web app is going to look pretty much the same from the web app, and the desktop app look pretty same. So you can log into that. The desktop app and the web app are having very similar features. There's hardly any feature which you will miss out. So that is it. If in Discord, people usually ask you about your Discord ID, so which is your entire username, including this hashtag number that is provided. You can click on it to copy, and make sure that when you copy the entire message, including the hashtag thing. Let me see if I copied. Including the hashtag is important because anyone can create an account which is going to have this first part same Abel M designer night, but this is something, the entire thing is something which is going to be unique to you, so you can use that. So taking an example of it is, yeah, all the Discord servers will have few channels which are like private, which is going to be for the moderation purposes, to know how to behave in the Discord channel, what is the language that is to be used, and some guidelines of what the different channels do. So you can find it all here. In Discord, we can club channels together. So you can see the information section is clubbed together. There are 3 channels in text and 2 as announcement channels, which is not voice channel. We have general clubbed. We have one club for this hackathon, one club for internal, and one the archive. So this is something with Discord, as you can club them together. And what else about Discord? Yeah, in Discord, you need to, let me just show you. Discord has a feature wherein usually you need to respond or react to a channel to get access to the remaining channels. So it's like accepting the terms and conditions. So Discord uses roles and reactions for that. So you see that we have this channel in this server. It is not going to be same for all the servers, but it usually is similar, that unless I react on this message saying that I have accepted the terms, you can see the channels on left, they will vanish if I just remove the acceptance. So you will get access to some channels in Discord only after accepting the terms and conditions using this method. In Discord, you also have roles. So you can see on the left the roles. So we have a moderator, we have some mentors, tags, we have the hackathon members. The Born Hackathon was the name of the hackathon. And then we have some other roles as well, of which is people are online and all. If you want to see all the roles of someone, let us assume that you are in Ask MLH channel. You want to see the roles, you click on the person and you can see all the roles that a person has. So these roles are managed by the workspace, by the server admins, to identify the person's scope of access. So that is it about Discord. If you want to ask something about Discord or Slack, you can ask. I can try to explain. Anyone? That's pretty much it. If that is pretty much it, we can have Vedant explain about internet relay chat. Vedant?
Yeah, hello, am I audible?
Yes, Vedant, you're audible.
Yeah. Like if anyone does not have any doubt, then shall I continue?
Yeah, sure. You want to share your screen?
Yeah, sure. Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Okay, just a second. Hi everyone. I am Vedant. I'll be taking a few 10-minute session on internet relay chat, and I'll be telling you why it is required and how should we use it. So first of all, I don't have any slides, so I'll just go through a walkthrough session of IRC and then tell you how to proceed on to that. So IRC is nothing. You can consider it as a simple, like a WhatsApp for world, or to quote the Reverend, a multiplayer notepad for everyone. So IRC service is a pretty old service, started around in 1980s. As you can see here on the in the Wikipedia page definition, it is a multilayer protocol based on client server model, and it is used by people just to communicate over networks. So that is okay. When you see IRC, like if I open images of internet relay chat clients, you can see that it is pretty old software. The GUIs are very, very old, and like there's nothing very catchy about it. But still, IRCs are important and they are used. So now they are used by like if you are into open source or are going to start open source journey, then IRCs become very important for you, because they are used by some of the very popular open source competitions or organizations. Like for example, let's say GSOC. So if you are able to see this web page, you can see that Google Summer of Code has dedicated an entire web page for IRC. So what actually happens is when you apply for a program such as Google Summer of Code, or for that matter, Free and Open Source Asia, or other open source programs of that sort. So what happens is that they don't use things like WhatsApp or email services for discussing projects or discussing the regular updates. They go very old school and use the traditional internet relay chats for that purpose. So it makes important for us to learn that, because for example, let's say I have opened it for you. If I say you can see this is the web page of Python Software Foundation. It is one of the most it is one of the biggest sub organizations for GSOC, and you can see that in the after the mailing list section, they have mentioned about internet relay chats or live chats. So like if you are going to apply for a proposal in, let's say, Python Software Foundation, or and for that matter any other organization, then it becomes very important for you to learn IRC, because without using IRC you won't be able to understand what is actually happening in that year's proposal of that sub organization, what are the updates, what are the regular checks you have to perform, and for more apart from that, you won't be able to connect to your mentors, because all the thing, every talk which happens on these IRC channels. So that's a background story on why IRCs are important. So let's see how to download and how to use one. Let me make sure again. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, Vedant, yes.
Yeah, and am I going too fast?
Fine for me. What about others?
Can any one of you tell me, like, if you are able to follow up? Okay, then I guess it is good. Okay, so let's see how we can use internet relay chats. So let me go on to the Google's web page only. So as you can see, there are multiple clients through which we can use IRC, internet relay chats. And for Windows, I prefer HexChat. So if any one of you are using Windows, will be accessing IRC with the help of HexChat IRC client. If you are on Mac, then I guess Polari is a nice one, or Smuxy is also nice. But for Windows, HexChat would also do everything you would want to. And if you don't want to install any kind of software, then there are also web-based clients. The most famous one being Kiwi IRC. So if you want to look how, just to take a look on Kiwi, then if I want to join the GSOX IRC channel, it directly reverts back me to the Kiwi's Freenode network. So this is a web-based IRC client. Today we'll be using a desktop-based one. So let's say I'll tell you how to download HexChat. So just go to Google, type HexChat download. So you'll go to the website for HexChat. HexChat also works on Mac, but there are some dependency issues. So just refrain from using it. So as you can see, there are multiple options here. Depending upon your operating system, you can go for that. So if you click on Windows 10 app, then it installs an executable file for you. I have already installed it. So it looks something like this, HexChat. So after let's open it. I will not be installing it, but I'll tell you how the basic installation procedure works. Okay. This is a simple normal setup only. You might have already been familiar with this kind of install. You don't have to do anything. Just go on doing next. And at the end of the setup, just click install. After you install, you would get IRC installed on your desktop. So let's see how it looks. I've already set up my IRC account. I'll just exit from it and then tell you from scratch. So let's go off with it. So you can search for HexChat in your desktop. It'll and open it. So guys, there are few things you have to keep in mind. As you can see, these are the few things. First of all, you have to decide a nickname, and then there's second choice for it, third choice for it, and your username. So it is done because if, for example, there may be someone who is already using the nickname which you want to keep. So you have to provide some options for that. So for example, if one of the options is not working, it will register you with the next one. And now coming on to the part of networks. So networks are basically hubs through which you join to an organization or to a particular server of an IRC. So there are a lot of networks here. And let's say you want to join IRC for Python's GSOC. So to get the information on what network it is based, you can just pull up the GSOC or the information of that. So here I am on Python Community Edition. As you can see, Internet Relay Chat. It tells me that all the channels of Python's developer community are based on Freenode's web chat. So Freenode is a network based on, which is one of the many networks on IRC. So you can find Freenode here. There are lots of other networks. Let's select Freenode and let's select connect. So it will do some checking for that. As you can see, my username is registered here, and it asks me what should be my opening page. So you can do anything. You can just join the HexChat. So you can ask for HexChat's opening channel always. So just click on OK. And then if you can see very clearly, it tells me that this nickname is already registered. So my nickname is Rumblefool. It tells me that nickname is already registered. So if I want to identify myself for this nickname, I have to type this message here. So let's go on doing it. This tells the server that by entering password, I tell the server that I have already registered for the network. So the message is Nick, sir, I identify and my password. So I forgot my password. Okay, it was for this WS. Okay, guys, I forgot my password, but like after you enter your password, it will register you for this network. Now, after getting registered, the point comes is about joining the channels which you want to join. So to pull up the channels based on this Freenode network, you can go to set server section and then click on the list of channels. So after doing that, you can just search the names of channel you want to join, or just click search to get the list of all available channels. So if, like, for example, we were searching for something related to GSOC. So let's go on searching for that. So as you can see, there are lots and lots of channels of specific sub-organizations. For example, 52 North. If you don't know 52 North, they are also one of the regularly occurring sub-organization under GSOC. So this is a channel for 52 North chat. This is a channel for KD. This is a channel for Linux Foundation, Apeltium, and etc. etc. So all these channels are registered under all these channels are of sub-organization registered under GSOC. So if you want to join the channel, any of the channels, just click on it and then click join channel. Once you do that, you would see that channel's credence name here in the list of current channels you have joined. Now what happens is not all the channels are open to join. So after joining some of the channels, there may be some prompt which may be coming here. So it will tell you to register yourself for that channel or just re-login using that username. So there are specific commands for it. This is done because so that the dummy entries or proxy or some kind of like the malicious, to prevent all kind of malicious activities, they just identify or the person who is going to want the channel. So there are a lot of commands for it. Like I won't go to all the commands, but I'll just share with you one of the gist I found on the internet. It is ways it contains all the commands which you may be requiring while using an internet relay chat. So most of the times you will only require these commands only, the Nix service commands. So as I told you, after how we registering. So for example, the Swix GSOC channel wants to register. So how will I register is I'll just write my command here. Since I am using Freenode channel, HexChat's client, NS won't work. So I'll be using message Nix service. So how I'll use it is that /message Nixer, and it tells me that I have to write register, I have to write a password, and then I have to mention my email. Okay. So since this server organization is not asking for any sort of credential, but let's enter some dummy ones. So my password will be password, and let's say my Email will be raghuvedant09@gmail.com. So after I enter this, I will get a prompt telling that an email has been sent to my account to verify my credentials. So I'll just show you a sample email which I received while registering to that. This is the sample email which I got from Freenode's client Freenode server. It says that Rumbleful, in order to complete your account registration, you must type the following command on IRC. So it is a random password sort of thing which identify myself with the network. So I'll just copy paste that and I'll enter it with. Okay, I just copied everything. So you can understand, like I have to just copy this message only, and I'll paste it here in the text box. So after pasting this, if I put the enter, I will be registered for this channel. So now there are a few things you should keep in mind while using IRC. Is that as you are wary of the privacy for while using Facebook, WhatsApp, or any other thing. So IRCs are, you have to also be very about those points while using IRC. There sometimes it happens that is some kind of malicious activity going on. So please don't click on stray links or do not engage yourself with a user who has not identified himself within the channels. For GSOC channels, it is very safe. Like you can find channels according to your other preference also. So for example, let's say I do a random search, then I can see there are very random channels pertaining to different topics. The free runs, the Ubuntu stack channel, the Brazil channel. So there are thousands, hundreds and thousands of channels over this Freenode network. So you can search for anything and join them. Like for example, I search for Star Wars. So there are few channels related to Star Wars also. So you can go on joining that channel, whichever you like, but be wary of clicking any stray links there. So that's it. That's pretty much it about how IRC works and how you should be doing it. There are a few protocols you should follow while using IRC for GSOCs. They have been mentioned on GSOC's page. Like you can lurk on any of the channels. It is perfectly fine. You can ask questions there, since GSOC is all about communication. So you can ask channels and hope if someone replies to you. And even if someone does not reply, then it is maybe that they are busy. So just hang on or find any other way to communicate with them. So that's it. That's how IRCs work, and that's why how you should be using them. So if any one of you has any doubt, please let me know.
Thanks, Vedant.
Yeah, thank you. Sure. I'll just share the cheat sheet link also in the chat. So if you guys want to do something with it, it will be accessible to you. I've shared the gist link of the chat. It contains all the commands for that. So I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you all for joining. Does any of you have any questions for us regarding the session or regarding any random topic you want to ask us?
Even any suggestion to make it even better? Yeah, I hope nobody has anything to say.
Thank you all for joining. So have a great day, great evening. Stay safe, and we'll be having further sessions this weekend as well. So the session that Vedant took on Python, the basics of making a bot, we'll be finishing that and making an actual bot which will be a conversation between a Twitter user and your website. So this is something that we'll be having, and we'll be having further workshops as well. So looking forward to seeing you there. And once again, thanks and stay safe. Good night.
Yeah, thanks for joining everyone. Good night. You can leave now.